Yo, what's going on? This is Ross and Mac with the Planet Paradigm Review Show from Planet X Films. We're in association with Gaz from Ancient Visions. You can check him out at his blog link and find us all on social media. Today, we are doing a review, or in this case, somewhat of a roast of The Predator by Shane Black. So if you guys want to plug your links real quick.
Definitely.
Mac, do you want to drop your at?
Oh yeah. Sorry about that. Yes. Mac the Rebel. You can catch me on Instagram. Mac the Rebel PXR. You can also catch me on Twitter. Also Maccabee M Beats. Also, you can catch me on the book Mac the Rebel, or Mac El Cacique. But just Mac the Rebel though would be good enough.
Good luck finding that, people. And Gaz.
Anyway, yeah.
Gaz.
You can find me ancientvisions.blogspot.com and on Twitter at moshpunkvisions, and it's Visions with a Z. And you can email me ancientvisions@gmail.com, and again Visions with a Z.
All right, guys, so let's get into what all the fuss is about. There's been all sorts of controversy about this epic new film brought to you by Shane Black of the Predator 1 cameo fame, as well as being a writer on the original Predator starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this time around, we had some issues with it not being anywhere nearly as entertaining as the first one. Not entertaining as any of the Predator movies really before this, including the AVPs, unfortunately. I found it to be, very, very slow and discombobulated, and it just did not do it for me at all for a Predator classic. So, Gaz, you got a pretty good point about the intro being only one of the parts you like. So, if you want to just start, I guess we'll start with the likes because there's going to be few and far between today, guys. Let's do that.
Yeah, there's no shortage of negativity for this movie, sadly. I thought the opening sequence, which was a homage to the original Predator movie with the ship approaching Earth, I really liked how that was done, even with the fugitive Predator standing up in his ship, taking a little walk for a few paces. I liked that. The whole scene then with the ship crashing to Earth, that was good. So I thought that was a good opening, and I was excited. I thought, yeah, my fears for this movie are going to be put aside. Sadly, as we will get into the review, I wasn't prepared for just how bad it was going to be.
I think a lot of people, I think they just kept their expectations quite low on this one, just because we were expecting something of obviously the Predator. You know what I mean? If you watch 1 and 2, then you already know what the Predator is about. You already know what the concept is, the story, and all that. But it's like how Gaz said, you know what I mean? When you go in there with those sort of expectations to hopefully raise while watching, it just got lower and lower and lower. And then all of a sudden, you just don't really see, something that, you think you could value, but it's end of the day, Hollywood bull. So,
yeah, I would agree. I would even go as far to say, like, for me, Predator 2 is obviously not as good as 1. I think most people would say, but I still like 2 as the next best thing after 1. I know you like Predators, guys. I mean, I'm a huge Robert Rodriguez fan, but Predators fell short for me. I had unfortunately gone to that one with super high expectations. So at the time, I thought it was like average or maybe a little less than average. I have to say now, after this, going back, Predators would rate much, 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 much higher than, it's at least, somewhat entertaining and, gave you more of what you would have expected or have been looking for, as opposed to this, which is like, way far below a 5, you know what I mean? And that's not, you could look at any reviews. Most people are giving this a 1 and a 2 on IMDb, guys. It's got 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's very far down there. It's definitely not just us saying it, and we're also not just roasting it to roast it. You know what I mean? Like I think I would say we all wanted it to be good, right? You know what I mean? But it just, as you watch the film, I suppose we're going to do spoilers, guys. So, you know, you can see pretty early on that it's like what you're going to get. You know, like I had my opinion made early. I assume you guys did as well.
For sure.
Yeah, I did. It's sadly, it just didn't feel like a Predator movie. I enjoyed Predators. I know you weren't the biggest fan, but you obviously appreciate it more now because at least with Predators, it had the tone and atmosphere of a Predator movie.
Right.
The hellhounds in Predators worked and they served a purpose. The hounds that they use in the Predator movie, well, they're these kind of mutated bulldogs with dreadlocks stuck on top of them. They just seem to have been put there just for the sake of it. And I'm like, what purpose does this serve? So
yeah, just bringing them back, or I'm not really, I don't even know where they're going at that point in the movie. Like I had said it, you know, a couple times when I spoke to you guys before, is I was on my phone on Twitter. I was literally like watching it with one eye and watching my phone with one eye, because at that point I was so gone. When they shot it in the football field. Didn't they high five or something? corn juice, you know what I mean? And then so yeah, going back to kind of the beginning. So we'll just like storyboard a couple shot lists for people. You got Gary Busey's son in there, Jake Busey as the scientist, as a homage to his character from Predator 2, and that was supposed to be a would-be connection, which obviously a missed opportunity fail there. The Predator, they have the fugitive Predator, which is kind of on the dissection table in the facility, and dead creature on the table wakes back up, cliche. You know what I mean? That goes on, and with Olivia Munn with her legendary acting there, and just that, as we said before, guys, that whole chase across the roof of when he just runs out with no cloaking armor, and he just runs across like the ceiling, the roof of the building at an average pace. And like why couldn't anybody hit him again when they were shooting? You know what I mean? He was basically just jogging, and then you have crew of mercenary misfits locked up in the bus, cliche during that, telling their stupid one-liner jokes, and that's your whole intro. Like that was most of the trailer anyway, and I wasn't a huge fan of the trailer. I thought the second one showed maybe a little bit more, but the first one I was kind of like I kind of knew what I would get, you know what I mean? And then you just have the intro sequence, cliche upon cliche upon cliche. So if anybody wants to take it from there,
what you call it, from just to go back to what you said and all that, like you can see pretty much of what he's doing. Like he's just trying to you can see he's trying to recapture it somehow, because you mentioned the prison bus scene. Think of it like the helicopter scene in part 1. They're all together just learning, what I mean? But the thing is, those guys already knew each other. They all worked together. That's his rescue team, basically.
Right. Yeah,
but in this one, it's just a bunch of like POWs that were forced to work together. They know nothing about each other. They don't know their backgrounds and such. They're just there talking shit, basically.
Yeah, that same juxtaposition is, we'll cover it at the end, is the Act 3 with that final forest chase, which is supposed to be Arnie versus the Predator in part 1, and it's just such a poor job, but I think is that when where I just left off, guys, is that when the famed infamous upgrade Predator that we all saw on YouTube leaks so much introduced, but in that outdoor fight when they're watching it, I think that's when he comes in. Guys, your favorite character?
I think that's a little bit later, because I don't know if I've remembered this correctly, and I'm not sure I want to. I'm not sure I want to, but I think the upgraded Predator first is introduced, as we saw in the trailer, when he pulls the fugitive predator outside the high school. The fugitive predator.
Okay. Yep.
He's got McKenna in kind of a chokehold, and then the upgrade Predator pulls him through the wall.
That sounds right.
Going back to that scene though, with the fugitive Predator running along the rooftops, etc., whilst the POW soldiers are in the bus together. One of my problems with the movie as well, I know they're not going to recapture the whole sense of suspense and mystery from the first Predator, and even in Predators, which I guess is kind of a very close remake of the first Predator movie, but I still enjoyed it. I just felt we saw the Predators too soon. There was no sense of danger to them. These guys are supposed to be intergalactic alien hunters, incredibly deadly, and it just felt like I was watching some partly Transformers-esque creature running along rooftops or something. And that was disappointing. I wanted to feel that threat, that these guys know there's something out there. It's hunting them, and they're in danger, and that never came across. And
the danger of the dangerous, super dangerous enemy, you know, is totally, that element was completely lost.
Yeah, and that was a shame, and that's one of the hallmarks of the Predator movies.
For sure, for sure.
Oh, definitely, for sure. I mean, and this is why you guys heard me say this already, you know what I mean? This is why I really don't understand what the director is doing half the time when somebody that was there in that environment see how another director did, you know, the work. Amazing. Mind you, this is directed by John McTiernan, the same guy that did Die Hard. And Die Hard was an epic film. One of the most epic, you know, Christmas movies ever. Action
classic for sure.
You know, and you figured somebody who, all right, he's acted, but you know what I mean, he writes screenplays and such, will take some sort of like you know, some sort of, you know, one or two guidelines from the director himself.
Yeah, like some influence or whatever.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, obviously y'all heard my opinion about the director, but to be serious, I think they, like I said, you know, I think he still, you know, has a lot more to just pretty much on, you know, to fill on the director's chair. You know what I mean? He needs a lot more practice on that shit.
Well, we've had this discussion before about writers stepping into the director's chair, and even writers that we really like a lot, it hasn't always been successful. Like, you know, being in front of the camera is quite different than being behind it, and that's what we're learning. You know what I mean? You have to have an on point, you know, director of photography. You have to have, you know, camera operators. That's like, people think like a director is just pointing camera, like you're in charge of a whole team of a production. You know what I mean? That's like just your skill. You could be a talented actor, and your skills might not necessarily, you know, transfer over or be a talented writer. We've learned that. So, yeah, I mean, from a writing perspective, I still felt it was completely discombobulated and incoherent. And as Gaz said, I don't know if that's a result of chopping scenes and editing and the reshoots that were done. Right. That's how it would seem, right, Gaz?
Most definitely, because the whole movie comes across as really choppy. It transitions from scenes far too quickly, literally like they've been pasted over the top of the other with no, like I said, no smooth transition. You can tell it's been edited to death. We all know the problems they had with the reshoots and the leaked script. It really looks like it could have done with another 6 months in post-production easy and just take another year to get everything right. And, you know, if they'd have come out and done that and said, we're going to totally go back to basics, I'm going to come up with a new script, reshoot everything. I know it's time and money, but if that was delivered us a far better product at the end of it, I would have been happy with that. Instead, we were left with something that I think was trying to pay homage to the original movie in parts, then was playing in with nostalgia, with there's a later scene with McKenna's son. Mac was mentioning this off air to us a few hours ago, where McKenna's son is going trick-or-treating with a predator mask. So it's kind of wanting to pay homage as well to some of these old-school 80s movies, and it's just a whole mess. It kind of doesn't know what kind of movie it wants to be itself, and the abstract humor really detracts from the tone, and you're sat there watching it thinking, what, this just doesn't work. It just doesn't land.
Right. Well, exactly. I'll just say this. I think he had an idea of what he was doing, but it just was executed so poorly that it lost its direction, even in script. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. That's the other thing that always doesn't translate is how you think it's coming out when you're writing it is like, keep in mind, all this stuff still needs to be shot on screen. So if it doesn't translate over there, like you said, there's going to be a disconnection within itself. But, you know, going back into that E.T. homage scene, that for me was the absolute second that the film lost its mythos of what is supposed to be the Predator. When, you know, was it McKenna's son is in the barn and he finds the predator artifacts and he puts the mask on, and I think he decodes their language in about 5 seconds. Then he goes outside and wears it trick-or-treating and shoots a rocket into the bully's house and blows it up. And like that was supposed to be like comedic relief, and that was like comedically relieving the screenplay to me, because I was like, no, I'm done now. Like, I was never even invested throughout this whole thing, and now I'm gone. You know what I mean? Now I'm gone.
It felt like a sidetrack into an episode of Stranger Things, that moment.
For sure. Now, Gaz, take us into your favorite character, the legendary upgrade Predator that has been hyped up for the last 6 months on YouTube. I was told this was going to be the most epic thing of all time. He was going to have xenomorph DNA from aliens, and he was going to be the most legendary badass, and just how corny this character was. You know what I mean? It was just pathetic.
Okay, so the premise with the upgrade Predator was supposed to be, as you've said, it would have DNA of all the species it's hunted throughout the galaxy, the xenomorphs as well. We saw the scenes of it being able to naturally, I think, come up with some kind of special armor on its body. And we all thought, okay, interesting. And it was all tied in with a clan of predators on Yautja Prime that are upset with us humans for killing 2 of their hunters in Predator 1 and 2. So we were like, okay, I never liked the look of the upgrade Predator from the trailers and the shots we'd seen. It looked disproportionate. Its head didn't seem to fit on its body. I was like, what's up with that?
I liked it more in the trailer than I did in the real movie.
Yeah, the problem is this is supposed to be in a deadlier version, which they've made bigger and taller, which just looked like some mutated skinny flagpole.
I just have to add on, Jazz. I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, go for it.
Now, what you said right there, it just, oh man, you were mentioning how like they wanted to be revenge just because of the first movie, but the thing is, thank you, honey. But the thing is it kind of like reinforces the logic of part 2 if you look at it, because remember in part 2 when Danny Glover killed the original Predator there, they, you know, claimed it as like a trophy, you know what I mean, and they let him go free when he was surrounded by a bunch of predators talking about who's next.
Yeah, because he won the victory.
Yeah,
exactly.
So they gave him the 1922 pistol, but yeah, you know what I mean? Just to stay on that, I mean, theoretically, we've been breaking down the science, and wouldn't making him bigger and taller make him slower? And like one of Predator's greatest attributes is speed. So what's the point of making a bigger Predator if his skill is speed? You know what I'm saying?
Out of the two, I mean, obviously we didn't appreciate or enjoy the movie at all, but if I was going to pick which Predator I'd prefer from a movie, it was the fugitive Predator, because the upgrade Predator just didn't seem to do anything. And it's like the scene in Act 3 at the end where he tries to do the famous Predator roar at McKenna, and McKenna just shoots him and takes half of his jaw out before he's even finished. And I just thought, it just seems to be, considering it's supposed to be something even deadlier, it just didn't seem to serve a purpose or have that impact at all.
Not at all. Like, let's cover that Act 3, because that's basically, you know, you knew you were going to get a forest scene a la original Predator, you know what I mean? When Arnie...
let's just say Act 3 is where it really insults you.
No crap. If you're not already mad and for some reason you're still watching by Act 2 and Act 3, if you haven't walked out of the theater yet, he obviously, monster chase through the forest cliche, Act 3. He chases McKenna and the crew, and they're shooting at him. They try to do a would-be intense action scene, and still at this point, I was not impressed at all by the action. I found it totally generic B level, you know, B movie level that you could get from, you know, anything on Redbox. And that's what it was. He was just chasing him through the woods. You get to this big, corny, you know, would-be epic climax fight where, you know, as Gaz said, you know, they blow up this upgrade Predator and shoot him in the jaw. And it's like, even still, there was like, really for me, there was not one good fight in the movie. You know what I mean? As compared to what you would be useful from a Predator 1 or a Predator 2 or even Predators. You know what I mean?
That's the whole problem with the movie. There's really nothing positive you can take away. And I'm really stretching when I say I liked the intro to Act 1 with the ship approaching Earth. And then my other favourite part was the end credits when I knew I could escape. And I felt like saying to the staff in the movie theatre, is there any chance I can get a refund? Because I think the fugitive predator has TP'd in whilst I was sat in the movie theatre and used his stealth technology to steal the money from my wallet. Because I feel that was the real hunt.
Actually, I think we missed a real effective plot point, guys. At some point, is my understanding, you told me that the upgrade predator walks into the top secret facility and hacks the computer so he can, for no reason, translate his predator language into English. Would you like to tell everybody what happened there?
Yeah, that's just before Act 3 starts, just before the forest scene where the upgrade predator walks onto his mothership and hacks into the secret military installation or whatever. If my details are accurate, they've escaped me because my memories of this film are evaporating quickly because it's so bad. But he uses that to talk to the humans, and you get this such a corny, cheesy voiceover.
Generic alien voice.
Yeah, you've got I think is it McKenna and the human antagonist guy who I keep forgetting his name, the leader of the Black Ops unit. I think they're near the computer that's displaying, I guess, the hieroglyphic style language, and you hear this voice to say, "Now I've watched you both kill each other, blah 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 blah. I will give you a head start." And I really feel like saying, "Now you have sat through my terrible whack movie. You are not entitled to a refund." It was just, oh man.
That's the moment that literally killed.
And it was as horrible as my voiceover. It was literally as bad as the words that I've just left my mouth.
Literally as bad, if not worse. And then let's let you, Mac. This is your factor. Why don't you explain what happens when they're sitting there in front of the teleporter and the guy beams it? The humans have adapted the Predator invisible cloaks in this movie to be used by human technology. And then, guys, Mac, what happened there? The McKenna sees some guy beam in through the teleporter, and what happened, Mac? Tell everybody, please.
Oh no, I
think he's reliving it.
Damn it! You want to do it? If he doesn't do it, you're doing it, guys, because I'm not doing it.
Thanks.
I will do it if you make me, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really want to do this, fams.
Oh man, just tell us.
Yeah, on, guys. Do it for America, man. Do it for America, buddy.
Yeah,
man. I'm doing it for PXR as well.
Pretty much.
Oh man, it's just so badly choreographed and put together. I think again, I've forgotten the guy's name, folks. He's a leader of the Black Ops unit in the movie, and his character could have been interesting if he was given better dialogue and developed further, because he had potential. And but it's just so cheesily shot, the way he's using the Predator's kind of shoulder cannons, and it looks like something that he's picked off like Best Buy literally on Sunday afternoon or something. Oh yeah, here's a Predator's shoulder cannon you may want to use for this scene. It looks as cheap and nasty as that. Sci-fi channel standard.
Maybe you guys could tell me, but I don't know if I missed something here, because there's so many points in this movie I was lost. I can't even count, but they're just standing there at a computer, right? And then the guy just beams in behind the glass, and he has like a human adapted Predator armor suit with the shoulder cannons. And they go, "Yeah, that's a Predator killer suit." They go, "What's that?" And McKenna goes, "That's my new suit. It's the set the failing ending climax conclusion scene up for the sequel cliche."
Yeah,
but
that's the scene.
Did they explain why that was happening at some point, or did that guy just beam in from nowhere and we were supposed to act
from
like
what I've seen? Not from what I've seen, what I read or whatever. The Dutch character, basically, if Arnie would have accepted, the Dutch character was supposed to be the Predator killer, I'm guessing.
Yeah. But so instead, it was Dutch substitute bench warmer cliche. So
yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, it turns out that the scientists grabbed it and just pretty much made it into a suit, man.
Oh wow, that's so crazy! I can't wait to see what happens next.
So You see, that scene is so bad.
Oh.
When you just asked me the question, I was struggling to remember it, and I jumped ahead to the sequence where I think the human antagonist, I keep forgetting his name, man, is using the stealth technology in the forest scene, and I'd totally forgotten that whole setup to that sequence.
McKenna got that too. I remember him using it, but yeah. So basically, that's what I said. The humans have adapted the Predator cloak of this film, but when the guy comes in with that power armor at the end, it was like, for me, it was just like, either I wasn't paying attention or he just beamed in from nowhere, and they didn't explain at all how that connects to anything. Now, yeah, go ahead, guys.
It's probably due to the editing, fam, because they've cut so much out of the movie. That's why, and you're right. He did disappear, and you're just like, well, where did this dude come from?
There was no transition scene. They didn't explain who he is or why he is or where he came from. Now, I've seen the theory of why there was no Dutch scene in The Predator, because Shane Black wrote a cameo in for him at the end, and Arnold Schwarzenegger said it was too small of a role, so he declined it. Obviously, you wouldn't expect Arnold Schwarzenegger to show up in this. I mean, they've been asking for Dutch since Predator 2. It was supposed to be Danny Glover and Dutch, but yeah, I don't know. That's it. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't do it for a reason. There's this legendary kid actor character in this film, the kid who goes trick-or-treating with the Predator mask on. Gaz, would you like to talk about his promotion that he gets from the U.S. Black Ops Science Division at the end of the film, which is the epic conclusion cherry on top of this? I don't know why you've sat, if anyone sat through this film, or why you would, but it's what you get at the end.
There's worse than that. There's worse than that, fam. You forgot the moment, the fight on top of the Predator ship with the force shield.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. So they're all fighting on top of the Predator UFO scout ship, and and it's got a force field on it. And when the force field goes off, they all duck under it and are fine. But one guy who is stuck standing up gets chopped in half by the force field and dies. That fight was just like CGI. It looks straight out of Transformers, dude. I hated that fight. That was so corny, man. Like,
the corniest freaking PlayStation 2 graphics I've ever seen in my life.
There's not one decent fight in this film that you're like, oh, that was a good knock. You know what I mean? Everything was just
they were just making fun of everything on that joint, man. Shoot, I wouldn't be surprised if a xenomorph popped out of somebody's butthole, man. Just
no shit.
Called it an AVP for
AVP 3, directed by Shane Black. But yeah, Gaz, what happens at the end with your favorite character when they invite him to come work at the science facility?
Well, you've just got someone who's pretty much the most qualified person on Earth, who's going to be able to retire by the time he's 12, because their specialist consultant is about like 6, and he can naturally decipher the Predator language to go to him for all his expertise and knowledge. And then you find out, and we forgot to say this, that the whole reason the fugitive Predator had come to Earth is supposedly to help us fight against this Predator clan that wants to invade Earth, for us killing the first 2 hunters in Predator 1 and Predator 2. And I'm going to let Mac talk about one of his favorite moments in the movie, the end sequence where one of the scientists unlocks the gift that the future Predator left us, and it's kind of like an unofficial pitch to say, hey, I'm going to do Iron Man 4.
Okay, this is why I have such an issue with that. It's because, like, I've seen that in so many movies where they just, they get this over-the-top thing where, oh, there's going to be a sequel, you know what I mean? There's going to be something like even more exciting to come or whatever, man. But this is just, after everything I just witnessed, man, what excitement can come from that, man? It's just like, what? So we're going to see this kid grows up and becomes the Predator killer or something like this, and he knows the language now, and somehow the movie wants to make him like he's the chosen one.
Leaving it open for part 2, but so what was the artifact though? Like, I'm totally lost on this. You guys gotta tie that up for me.
Go ahead, guys.
I was just gonna say, if you know that moment in Captain America Civil War where Tony Stark's kind of got like that wrist armor. Well, it's like he activates it and then he gets the whole, Iron Man suit. It's pretty much like that, but with like 27 shoulder cannons or something, and it just looks like.
So I thought that's what I was talking about before, when the dude beams in with the cloak, and he's wearing the Predator power armor with the shoulder cannons. Isn't that that's not the same part? You're saying that what the fugitive Predator left was something different? That was just a suit and a bust?
Yeah, I'm sure it was just something that kind of appeared on this dude's wrist, and then it activated, and he was in a full encased kind of mech-style Predator armor with like 40 million shoulder cannons.
Super armor, like War Machine.
And it just looked so bad. It looked like a cross between Gundam and Transformers, and then something from, any kind of terrible sci-fi movie with a poorly CGI'd mech.
Yeah, like you could look for part 2 to be a Boba Fett, Iron Man, every power armor cliche ever combined,
including Cap Shield probably as well.
Yeah,
just in case.
One of the Terminator RoboCop mofos.
No kidding. So that's what we got. We got the kid getting hired at the end after he deciphered the entire Predator dialect in about 5 seconds when he put the mask on for the first time. getting hired to go work for the U.S. government to help them with the Predator program. So yeah, man, we could all pretty much at this point, rate where you guys have it at. For me, I'd give it a 2.5, maybe the highest a 3. And, most people are giving it either a 1 or 2, if I said, with like a 33 to a 34 on Rotten Tomatoes. So I don't know where you guys rated it at. We'll have to come up with a rating system going forward.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll let Mac take this
10 or 5?
Huh? I went out of 10. Obviously, I would not give that a 3 out of 5.
All right, sure. I go, I guess.
Go on, Mackie. I'll give you my score no more.
All right, well, I just rated a 2 out of 10, man. I mean, like I said, it was, it's just another one of those CGI flicks. At the end of the day, they throw a Predator mask on and try to make it a little more exciting. You figure, somebody who was more familiar with the Predator universe would have a better understanding of how this film could be made. But I should have, known that since I watched Iron Man 3 and kind of sucked at that.
Yeah.
I mean, look. Like I said, you guys heard me express, my opinion of the director, but in the end of the day, that's just fandom anger right there. It's not something that's serious to me. You know what I mean?
Just disappointed though, man.
It's just disappointment at the end of the day. I mean, mind you, I've seen Nice Guys. Nice Guys, he did not do a bad job in that. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, he kind of like entrusted me and like he might know what action and how to put it down, but especially in the Predator.
Nah, it's just like you said. It's just average CGI, sci-fi action cliches. So.
Pretty much, man.
Yes.
I the same. I give it a 2. The only saving quality it's got, and it could put this in brackets underneath the Blu-ray releases. Yeah, it's bad, but it's not as bad as The Last Jedi. That's it.
Agreed.
And I feel it for Mark, because we all felt like this. I think Mark capitulated our disappointment, because the Predator is such an iconic character. I mean, us three have been talking about it for years and making all the references to the movies, etc. And Mark just had it down so on point when we were talking about this a few hours ago. It's just that level of frustration and disappointment, and we really did think Shane Black was going to do. We never expected it to be like the first 2 movies. Right. We thought it wasn't going to be that bad, and thought we'd have a reasonable movie that would set up some sequels.
Right, the next best thing, maybe.
Supposedly, they've got 2 more planned.
Oh my gosh! Hopefully not with him.
I can't see it.
I do stick to my word. I'm not watching another Shane Black film, so
yeah, I'm gonna co-sign that. For me, like final point. The Predators were not that clean for me. You know what I mean? They just looked like really basic, average CGI, as we said, and almost see-through at times, very too over the top, and it did not blend well at all with the rest of the live-action shooting, such as like something like The Thing prequel, where they used CGI, but it was tastefully done. You know what I mean? For me, it was just they didn't look that great. You know what I mean? For a 2018 camera and modern CGI and all the stuff where you see films that are done well and done clean, I thought it wasn't there.
The sad thing is there's better fan films on YouTube and Predator
exactly.
which is quite good. We were talking about that last night.
There's a few. There's like 2 or 3 of them. There's quite a few.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, you know, like you said, VX. You know, let it not be about the money.
Yeah, no kidding. That'd be nice. Well, then in that case, you might as well just tell the fan film guys to keep going on YouTube because they're not making it for the money. So better luck there. You know what I mean?
Do you both think that Shane Black wanted to try and do so much, you know, by taking elements of these old school movies, paying homage to them, injecting a bit of Stranger Things, injecting a bit of this, and that's why in the end it just didn't work and we ended up with this entire mess? I mean, there's obviously been problems behind the scenes with the reshoots and everything. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to try to go into what he was thinking. I think maybe he just tried to modernize it. Like he thought he could take the concept and modernize it and make all these nods to, you know, what, you know, pop culture now, like you were saying. And I don't know if that's what's, I'm not going to try to get inside of his head for, you know, what writing it was, because for me, it just clearly didn't come together. But if you guys want to just do your final thought each, and we'll do our links and our outros here.
Right. For sure. In the end of the day, you know, hopefully 2018, you know, though it's not the best year for movies and all that, you know, hopefully in the future, you know, they will learn from these certain mistakes and these certain speed bumps and just pretty much, you know to deliver, you know, cinema that's just at least like enjoyable. Even if everything doesn't have to be an Oscar winner all the time, obviously, but even you're gonna make a popcorn flick, try to make it enjoyable, you know, by not repeating and making mistakes of the same kind. Like Gas said before, you know, they had to like recut films and all that stuff, you know, just to like and rehash it, you know, same scenes and such. So at the end of the day, do better next year, Hollywood. Well, please.
I mean, as you say, with like, you know, just real quick on that point, like as far as paying homage, you look at, you know, even just a decent action film, like you're saying, it might not be an Oscar winner, but an entertaining classic action film, you'd say something like Expendables 2 that had all the legends in it, was entertaining, had the one-liners, it had the
example right there,
throwback references to, you know, one-liners, 80s and 90s action, and it came together on that one and it worked. As I guess with something like that, we were expecting something like that from the Predator and didn't get it. But Gaz?
Just the same, really. I can only echo the thoughts from you both. It just feels like a wasted opportunity.
Right.
Very disappointed. It's sad that in the space of, I think is it a year or something, that we've had the Aliens franchise seemingly pretty much on the floor at the moment. Predator now looks the same way. We might not get another Predator movie for a while now with Disney, you know, buying Fox, or we might get the Predator Goes to Kindergarten edition.
I don't know if I want one after the way this turned out as well.
Yeah.
There's that too.
Man, it was all for action figures at the end of the day, guys.
I used to like the old action figures.
So yeah, I'd certainly. Hey, if anyone wants to go and watch it in the movie theater, then feel free to do so. But my advice is wait for it to come on the TV. I wouldn't even get it. Right. Seriously, it's not worth it. It's a very poor movie, and I'm putting it as polite as I can.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Gaz, but you don't have to take it from us. You can let us know what you thought in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Let you know what you liked, what you didn't like. Do you want to see Shane Black do another one? Do you want to see somebody else try it? Do you want to see Robert Rodriguez come back? And you can let us know. This is the Paradigm Review Show, Planet X Films, in association with our boy Gaz from Ancient Visions. You can follow us on Twitter. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And you can follow me on Twitter at ROSSGERACIPXF. And you can follow Mac and Gaz at their links as well.
Sure, for sure. Instagram, Mac the Rebel, PXR. Maccabeen MM Beats at Twitter, Mac El Cacique or Mac the Rebel on Facebook, PlanetXRecords.net, you know, our other, you know, other society right there. So yeah,
you can find that channel in our links as well. Gaz, you've got your own channel and your stuff as well.
Yeah, I just search for Ancient Visions on YouTube. It's a work in progress, but myself, Ross, and Mac will be on there hosting various shows and uploading content as time passes. You can follow me on Twitter at moshpunkvisions. It's Visions with a Z. My site, ancientvisions.blogspot.com, and again, it's Visions with a Z. And you can also email me, ancientvisions@gmail.com, and it's Visions with a Z.
Sure.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks for joining us, guys. Everybody remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what else you'd want to see us review. We might possibly do Venom next, or let us know if there's other stuff you guys would be interested in us covering. We'll do old stuff, new stuff, doesn't really matter to us. So Paradigm Review Show, this is basically one of our early tests, but you will definitely see more content from us. Thank you and good night.
Peace out.